All right, let's talk about studying. We're going to break down some scientifically proven ways to do it way more effectively. I mean, if you've ever spent hours cramming for a test only to feel like it all just vanished by morning, well, you're not alone, and you are in exactly the right place. Does this hit a little too close to home? Yeah, it's got to be one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. You put in the time, you sacrifice your evening, and it feels like nothing's stuck. But here's the secret I want you to get. The problem probably isn't you, it's your method. So here's the big idea. It's not about studying more, it's all about studying smarter. Cognitive science has shown us that after about 45 minutes of straight studying, our brain's ability to actually absorb new stuff just tanks. It's a classic case of diminishing returns. The answer isn't to grind it out for another 4 hours. It's to switch up your strategy entirely. So what are these smarter methods? Well, it all starts with something called active learning. This is the opposite of just passively reading a textbook or highlighting everything in sight. No, these methods are about forcing your brain to get in the game, to struggle a bit, and to actually work to get the material. This brings us to what a lot of neuroscientists call the single most powerful learning technique out there, active recall. So instead of just reading something over and over, you actively try to pull that information out of your brain. Every single time you force your brain to retrieve a memory, you're strengthening that connection. It's literally like doing a bicep curl for your neurons. And getting started is incredibly simple. Seriously, you just read a section of your textbook, maybe for 10 minutes. Then, and this is the important part, you close the book and you try to remember all the key points, either by saying them out loud or just scribbling them down from memory. This simple process builds unbelievably strong memory links. Okay, another amazing active learning method is the Feynman Technique. The whole idea is beautifully simple. If you can't explain a concept in simple terms, you don't really understand it. That's it. Trying to teach it to someone else, even an imaginary person, instantly shows you every single hole in your own knowledge. It forces you to go back and actually learn it right. And if you need a really fast way to revise, you have to try the blurting method. You grab a blank piece of paper and you just blurt. You write down absolutely everything you can possibly remember about a topic. Then you compare what you wrote to your notes. It is, without a doubt, the fastest way to see exactly what you know and, more importantly, what you don't. Okay, so you've got the techniques down, but how you structure your time is just as critical. It's not enough to know how to learn, you need a system for when to learn. Let's look at a couple of seriously powerful ways to schedule your study sessions. First up, the famous Pomodoro Technique. You study with intense, locked-in focus for 25 minutes, and then you take a short 5-minute break. This little cycle is amazing because it keeps your brain fresh and stops that mental fatigue that leads to burnout. You do 4 of these rounds and boom, that's 2 hours of incredibly high-quality, focused work. Now, for getting things into your long-term memory, nothing, and I mean nothing, beats spaced repetition. This schedule is designed to strategically interrupt what psychologists call the forgetting curve. It's our brain's natural tendency to just let information fade away. By reviewing at these specific intervals, you're fighting that curve and can boost your long-term retention like crazy. So we have the methods, and we have the schedule. But what about the final boss for every student on the planet? Distraction, and its evil sidekick, procrastination. Let's talk about how to beat them for good. If you are just struggling to get started, you have to use the 2-minute rule. Just tell yourself, okay, I'm only going to do this for 2 minutes. What's so amazing is what happens next. Once you start, your brain's natural momentum kicks in, and it wants to keep going. This little psychological trick just helps you get over that initial wall of resistance. Creating a distraction-free zone is, and I cannot stress this enough, non-negotiable. This means a clean desk, a quiet space, and most importantly, putting your phone completely out of sight. I'm talking in another room. Every buzz, every notification forces a context switch in your brain. It totally shatters your concentration, and it can take you over 20 minutes to get back into that deep focus zone. And the impact of doing this is just staggering. Studies have shown that a truly distraction-free environment can make you 2 to 3 times more effective. Just let that sink in for a second. That means you could get done in 1 hour what's currently taking you 3. This isn't just a small tweak, it's a total game changer for your productivity. Okay, finally, let's talk about the biological stuff, the foundation that makes all of these other techniques even possible. You can have the best methods in the world, but if your brain isn't physically ready to learn, it's all for nothing. Let's not skip over the absolute fundamentals, right? First, sleep. It is not downtime. Sleep is when your brain is actively transferring information from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. It is literally cementing what you learned during the day. And second, water. Even being just a little bit dehydrated can mess with your focus and your energy. A tired, dehydrated brain simply can't learn. All right, let's zoom out and put this all together, because these aren't just a random bunch of tips. When you combine them, they form a complete, cohesive system for studying smarter. And here it is, your complete toolkit. You've got active recall, the Feynman technique, and blurting to really engage with the material. You're going to structure your time with a Pomodoro technique and spaced repetition. You beat procrastination with a 2-minute rule. You build your distraction-free zone, and you fuel your actual brain with sleep and water. And here's the bottom line, the real kicker. When you combine all these techniques, you're not just studying harder. You are fundamentally changing the way your brain processes information.